Now, we're not going to go through very deep dive into actually functionalities. We want to do a broad overview because we got quite a big team here. So please feel free anytime to stop me and to just put something in the chat bar as we go along, because we're going to be covering quite a few different aspects of the system. Now, I'm going to toggle with Robert Yon. Robert Yon is going to do the practical demo. I'm just going to do kind of the main macro overview of what the system does. And normally the ITS guys will normally ask me a lot of questions during this stage. But feel free anytime to interrupt us because we hate monologues. We love discussions. All right. The other thing, let's move on. We want to do an introduction. So very quickly, we serve purely academic institutions. The unique thing about TimeEdit that I want to mention on this slide is that we focus on scheduling and resource management and the whole suite of services. Our team is located, so we have grown since 2 years ago. We are not only now located in Sweden, in Norway, in Singapore, in York, in UK, in Melbourne. We are now, of course, opening up accounts in Malaysia also as well. So we've been growing since the last time we have actually spoken to the team. The three things that we always talk about is resource optimization. It is critical to get a good system, whether you use us or anyone else. I think the whole idea of using a timetabling resource management system is to optimize your resources. How do I schedule better? How do I maximize the use of venues? All these things are key to a good system. And of course, the other thing is student success. Edmund can maybe share a bit more about what Temasek Polytechnic is doing. One of the very complex things that they're doing is that they're giving a lot of customization for their own students. The students all have a personalized timetable. That's the cool thing. So each student, I don't need to see the whole timetable of the whole faculty. I can actually see my personalized timetable, and we can actually do a fitting of students into the classes also as well. I'm not sure whether NP does that, but that's something that a few universities that we're working on actually do that. So that's student success. The other one, of course, is staff satisfaction. We hope, right, and we believe that it will be easier for all the timetablers in this call, that your life is going to be easier. So, I mean, there's no point to change the system if your life is not going to get better, right, and more optimized. So the other thing is, of course, we really want to level up your satisfaction in being able to use the system. This slide basically shows you that actually, if you look at the top, 74% of the time, and I think maybe the timetablers will nod their head, is spent pre and post scheduling. Pre and post scheduling is like what? I'm collecting data, I'm planning for it without actually doing the scheduling, right? And the post scheduling is all the change requests that come on later, where the students, the staff, and whatever else things that you need to implement comes on later. Now, we are trying to really optimize this entire workflow because we recognize that a lot of time is utilized at the pre and post scheduling side, all right? And therefore, TimeEdit, its mission in life, I wouldn't say it's mission in life, but one of its missions is to really settle the problem before the curve becomes very complicated. So basically, we try to solve the problem before it gets into a later stage. And how do we do that? We provide 5 key elements. Now, for all the tenders that we have done so far, I think over the last 2 years, I think we have been so hugely successful. 90% of all, 5% of all the universities have selected us as a solution for TimeEdit. The first one is an end-to-end suite. We can solve more or less any resource management problem, whether it's scheduling for classes, scheduling for the room to be cleaning under renovation. All these things are things that we can handle really, really well. Number 2, which is very useful for a lot of universities that are migrating from legacy systems. Oftentimes, and I understand MP is using Syllabus Plus. Robert Yon, incidentally, has been working in Syllabus Plus, or was working for more than 10, 15 years. One of the good things about TimeEdit, and we specialize on this, is a customizable workflow. So it really doesn't matter which system that you are migrating from or coming from, we are able to fit that process into a new workflow. The third one, of course, is automation across the flow. So it's really optimization across the pre-scheduling, the scheduling, and then the post-scheduling also as well. The fourth one is, and I guess these are things that the ITS will be asking us, can we integrate into systems? The answer is we love to integrate into different systems. So we have an open API for integrations. We need to, right? Because we're part of the wider ecosystem, that the school uses also as well. The fifth one, which is something is very, very important, especially for a SaaS solution. I am sure you'll be being asked this, is it scalable? Is it secure also as well? Now, TP originally started with wanting it to host it on GCC, Government Commercial Cloud. But later on, after many discussions, we actually implemented it on TimeEdit, a cloud system, because we actually both mutually agreed that that would be the most desirable way forward. It's the same for RP. We had that initial discussion, and then after that, we all decided, yeah, that's fine. The current cloud system that TimeEdit is based on is able to satisfy those requirements. So in a nutshell, over 190 clients, and maybe Robert Yon, you can speak about maybe La Trobe. La Trobe is quite an interesting case study. Robert Yon, you want to mention anything about La Trobe?
Yeah, sure. La Trobe was the first university of TimeEdit in Australia, and together with them, we changed a lot of processes with them. So they also came from a legacy product, very familiar for a lot of people. And actually, yesterday they finished timetabling. So they used to schedule for 4 weeks, and now they could do it in 3 weeks. But also we introduced a system to do the data collection there. But before, the data was always connected with the student information system. But now they had decided, okay, let's do it with the curriculum management system, because that you get better data. But also after the scheduling, we introduced for them a change management workflow. And because of that, they could get rid of basically a ticketing system they had for all the changes. So actually, La Trobe is very happy.
How many students does La Trobe have? I recall there's quite a big number of people.
I think around 30,000.
30,000 students. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, then we of course have Temasek Poly and SUTD, which is live since this year. Maybe Edmund, you want to share a bit about how you coordinate with the different schools, and maybe we can have a bit of a conversation with MP, because I'm not sure how they schedule, but I remember, I mean, what we're doing with TP is that they are decentralized, right? Each school will actually have their own timetabling kind of dashboard. Edmund, you want to comment on that?
So basically, TP has about 6 different schools, engineering and business being the largest among the 6. They do share somewhat similar workflow, but then again, I don't know about NP, but Temasek also have the individual schools also do their own stuff. So we try and streamline their workflow process, even though the 6 schools are somewhat operating somewhat differently, but we could come to a discussion during the implementation stage to have everybody work towards a common workflow with some deviations from there. But it will all work out in the end, because that's how all the 6 schools can come into agreement with agreeing on how to do certain timetabling process the way they should be doing. So I think it's a good thing. So I'm not sure about MP's situation, but one way we can actually help is to, when we talk to the individual schools, to get a better understanding of how they do the timetabling, and then share the best practice among the various schools, so that they can all come to a better workflow and process. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good point, Edmund. One of the challenges for Temasek Poly was not so much a technical challenge, but a coordination challenge, where we had to coordinate with the 6 different schools, but at the same time, they collectively needed to agree on certain workflow and processes. So that was an interesting, good experience that we learned. But because of the flexibility of TimeEdit, we were able to actually customize for each school independently. Now, I want to ask a question to the MP timetabling team. Maybe Dr. Payne, you can comment on this. Do you schedule based on schools, or is it you all centrally schedule your activities?
So each of the schools will schedule for their respective schools because of the we need to have some idea of what is the nature of the courses as well. Then
Right.
but then the process is actually coordinated in a way because we actually need to integrate with our systems. So there's actually a coordinated process, but at the school level, actually they do their timetabling at their end.
Okay, very good. So later, Robert, you just take note of this. I think it would be nice to show them how each school can have a unique kind of setup, but all using the same timetabling database, and all the resources are being shared. I think that might be something interesting for MP to also see. One other question: how many schools do you all have? Is it 6 or so as well? Do you have a similar setup?
We have 9 schools.
Oh, 9 schools. Okay, all right. Okay, so then of course we have SUTD that we have also very pleased to have landed. These are the only 2 tenders actually have come out of the last 2 years, and we both won it. SUTD was also a very delightful thing. They also, SUTD is a bit different because they're slightly smaller. They did more centralized scheduling, but they focus more on the processes, and the delivery of the system to the students. Of course, we have INSEAD for some time already. INSEAD actually, very interestingly, has different campuses. Singapore is one campus. The cool thing about the cloud-based system and not an on-premise is that you can actually schedule anywhere in the world. So INSEAD has different campuses, one in Singapore and a few around the globe also as well. So that's the flexibility of the system. I'm going to skip all this. We don't have to go through. This is just a slide to show all these universities. I think even for TP and SUTD were all from legacy system on-premise with S+, and that's all our success rate. And of course, differing weeks to go live because depending on the complexity and the setup also required. I want to go straight into this. When we talked about really a holistic solution, and RJ, please feel free to chip in after I just kind of go through this in a macro level. On the left, you actually have resource planning and demand management. As I mentioned in the earlier slide, we're covering the whole thing, right? Pre-scheduling, scheduling, as well as post-scheduling. So for pre-scheduling, oftentimes you have your pre-planning and demand management. You have your preferences. This is something definitely you want to showcase to MP. You will definitely want to use this. So this is something where instead of using Excel to collect all your data points from your departments, from your lecturers, whether you want to have 5 tutorials, or 10 lectures or whatever, what preferences you have for your class, all these things can be automated and then brought into the timetabling system. So that's where you see actually TE preferences over here. And then, of course, we have curriculum management. We're very proud to be launching that. Oftentimes, we actually have a lot of requests for curriculum management, how do you manage the course codes, the program schedule of studies. A lot of universities, we realize, don't have a good curriculum management system. So we also offer this as a module that can be plugged in into TimeEdit also as well. The fourth one is a data manager where you create student sets creation, bulk changes, bulk allocation. This is something that's under development. Now, under the scheduling, so that's now the scheduling part, we have TE Core. TE Core basically, as in an analogy of a car, is the engine of the car, right? So that runs the whole thing, whether you're doing your scheduling for classes, whether you're doing for scheduling for exams. Then coming to exams, we have a module that sits on top of Core that basically is your exam management module. So that allows you to do your exam invigilator module, management, etc., etc., etc. And then, of course, you have Autopilot where you actually do your auto scheduling and constraint management. So that's the second part where you're talking about the scheduling part. The third part, which is actually the post-scheduling, is your publishing, TE Viewer, your reserve, which actually allows even students, teachers, or other entities to actually do one-off reservations on your resource management system. This is quite useful if you, let's say, offer your classes. I think we're talking to a few medical schools or schools where they want to offer their classes for part-time teaching or something like this. This is very useful because you can don't actually have to go through your timetablers to release the resource. They can actually book it off the system itself. You have allocate, Edmund talked a bit about the allocation of students, which is very useful. That's under development, but we have already developed a module with Temasek Poly. we have study guide, we have reporting, and we have evaluate as part of the post-scheduling kind of systems that we provide. RJ, anything else you want to add for this?
No, well, maybe let's talk about evaluate. So what you can do with evaluate is actually measure basically the feedback of the students from, for example, the curriculum. So you can ask about what the course evaluations, also what did they think about the course, what did they think about the teaching, what did they think of, for example, about the timetable. And with that feedback, basically, you can, it's a kind of a loop, yeah. So you can make improvements for the next year. So basically, you keep improving your teaching, your timetable, and courses.
Sorry, is it Koyin you're talking? Could you type out the question? I think your mic is a bit muted. Could you type your question out for us? Okay.
Or it might have been a discussion. I don't know.
Might have been discussion. Okay.
Mm.
Okay, maybe since we are paused here, I'm just going to put at this slide. Any questions from the MP team at the moment? I'm not going to just go so fast, but I just want to pause here since we had a brief pause. Any questions from the team? You can put up your hand or you just ask. Yeah. Any questions?
Sorry, for all this suite of the entire suite, is it that it's all inclusive, or we have to like indicate what is the
very good. So
things that-
it's like very good question. So it's like going to the restaurant, right? It's a menu, a la carte, where you actually decide what is applicable for the university or the IHL. So for today's demo, we are going to not focus on all because it will take at least 4 to 5 hours to cover everything. We are going to focus on TE Core, of course, and TE Viewer. We will touch on preferences and autopilot a bit to let you see the capabilities of the system, actually collecting data, and then, of course, scheduling it. To answer your question better, normally, after a few discussions with the IHL, we will normally have a rough sense of what they need. We don't normally push everything. So, for example, most of the time, the common things that people do get is Core, Viewer. That's the essential package because you need both. With that, you can do actually a lot of things already. With TE Core and TE Viewer, basically, you can do like 70% of the stuff if you don't really do auto scheduling, because some of the schools we talk to really don't do much auto scheduling. Or if they come from Excel, you'll be surprised. Actually, there are some universities in Singapore still using Excel, right? If you come from that kind of place where I'm not even using a system to schedule, and I come from Excel, normally we'll tell them you don't need to use auto scheduling for the first phase. So oftentimes the core package is Core and Viewer. And then of course, if you're going to do scheduling for exams, then you need exams also as well. The other two things that you add on later on is maybe preferences and autopilot if you need to do auto scheduling or you're already doing auto scheduling. That's something that you can also consider. Reserve, sometimes people do request for that, especially if they want to allow people to do some room bookings. Yeah, but to answer that question, you choose only what is essential or what you need for that migration first, and then later on any features that you feel might be applicable to the university, you can also decide later also as well. So good question. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, if not, we'll just continue a bit. I'm not going to go through, but we'll be sending you all these slides. The main thing that this slide is saying is that everything is residing on the same database on cloud. All right. So whether you are Dr. Payne, you're accessing it from your home or from the school, everybody is accessing the database instantaneously at the same time. Oftentimes, we have this interesting question. They always ask Trev, if we are booking for the same room at the same time, who wins? You know, who gets to get the room? The answer is that, of course, whoever has the fastest internet connection wins, right? So oftentimes it's first come, first serve because it's a cloud-based system. I think this is the time that you will experience what a cloud-based kind of scheduling system is. But the person who actually, the system in the cloud that registers the first, of course, the request will be able to get that request upfront first. But basically what we are emphasizing is that all resides on the same database itself. So I'm going to skip into a few more slides and I'm going to pass the time to Robert Yon. He's got about 1 hour and then we can keep another half an hour for questions. We want to talk about the workflow of scheduling now. Now you understand a bit about TimeEdit, all the different modules, what we can do. We want to talk a bit about the pre-scheduling, the scheduling, and then the post-scheduling. So for the pre-scheduling, we have preferences. We'll show you a bit of that, how you can actually, if you can see the kind of slide here, you can create your activities just like Syllabus Plus, right? You create activities, your length of time for activities, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, it doesn't really matter. 2 hours, 15 minutes also can, right? Then you choose your room type, whether it's seminar, practical labs, you know, that kind of thing. You can have different campuses, you can have different faculty rooms, that's not a problem. You can have room buildings, room equipment, teachers. All these fields that you see here can be customized. I can add more fields, I can add more data points. It doesn't really matter. The whole idea of this is that it helps you to collect all these things from your curriculum providers, you know, and stuff. And then, of course, all these things are scheduled. So then comes your data prep stage, where you actually, after you've collected that data, it can be, you know, all your pre-scheduling analytics can be done, whether your lecture halls, number of room seats, whether you have overbooking, you know, or whether it's not fully utilized. These are all also very useful statistics for management and for the timetabling staff. And then, of course, you can then do your auto scheduling if you're doing auto scheduling. If you're not, you can skip this step and actually do your manual scheduling. So you can actually, of course, set your different constraints, just like how you're using now. And then, of course, you can do manual adjustments. Now, some people, because, okay, so the cool thing about TimeEdit, if you later, you will see, it's a continuous timetable. So you can have every year that you have had timetable. So for example, since 1976 or whatever, I think all the way to 2050 or something like that, right? So it's a continuous timetable. The good thing about that is you can actually roll over your previous timetabling schedule. So imagine if you have the semester 1 last year and you're not going to do much changes, you can actually roll over the entire thing in just a couple of minutes and then schedule from there. So that saves a lot of time. So you don't even need to do auto scheduling in that respect. Later, Robert Young can show you a bit of that. And I know a lot of people use that because it's really useful, especially if you don't make a lot of changes. So that's manual scheduling. And then, of course, you have your post-scheduling where you actually, if you can see, it's all mobile friendly. The students can open up their mobile phone. They can actually see their schedule, the room, you know, the equipment, you know, whether you need social distancing, you know, and of course, they can also reserve the rooms if you also, you know, take TE reserve also as well. So basically, you can have a room overview, course overview, faculty. So this is the front end to the students. You can actually see even your cleaning schedule. You can subscribe to iCal, Google. You can push to lobby screens. If NP actually has room and course events, we can actually push all the calendars, you know, to your screens also as well. All these things are of course, the modern school of the future also as well. And this allows you to do that. A few more slides and I'll pass the time to Robert Yon. This is for the ITS side. We actually integrate into the ecosystem, whether it's student management system of Oracle, Ellucian, SAP, building management systems, digital signage, reporting, online teaching, learning management systems, of course, HR systems, curriculum management systems. We integrate that, you know, and of course, we would love to use that kind of clean data that we are able to take from them also as well. Of course, every integration is different, whether it's a curriculum management system or student information system. It depends on what you want us to, or what you want to do with the data, whether you're pulling in the data or you're pushing the data to the systems also as well. So these are just some examples of that. We will send you the slides. I don't want to take too much time doing that, but essentially what happens is that we would love, of course, to pull in your course information, student data, staff data, all these kind of things into our system. And then that makes it very easy to do your scheduling also as well. Okay, I'm going to skip all this, and this is the last slide, and I'll pass the time to Robert Yon. And basically, this is the timetabling process in a just a one slider, right? So as a timetabler, you can have a few starting points, right? Your data collection part can be new data that you're collecting. If you see on the left-hand side here, you could use last year's schedule to roll over. That's the cool thing that we'll show you later. So this could be things like, if you're not going to do very much changes, but you're changing venue, changing teachers, you can easily do a rollover without all these kind of things, and then schedule your new venues, new teachers also as well automatically. You got a lot of flexibility there. You can also roll over last year's activity data or new collected activity data, or even import activities from Excel also as well. Okay, and then you start scheduling. All right, and you can have different modes of scheduling, whether it's manual, whether it's auto, or a combination of both, which is often very common, right? And then you complete your schedule, you publish that for review to all your faculties, whoever is the course coordinators, whatever. They approve and make changes, and then of course you're publishing your schedule, and then of course you're doing your resource booking, and then you're having your tailor-made reports. Now, this is a general workflow. We will adapt to whatever MP is doing. So if you have your own unique things, that's normally what we will discuss during implementation and work that out with you. And then of course, map this out into a new workflow. RJ, anything else you want to comment before I pass the time to you?
No, well, maybe one question for NP. Does this workflow match your workflow? There's a question for the timetablers. Or which one does meet your way of working?
Currently for the publishing side, we actually publish on NPEL, the Oracle system. Okay, Tuan, do correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you can explain that part.
So yeah, public. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Hi, I'm Cindy. Yeah, it's published on the Oracle PeopleSoft system. So I understand that your integration doesn't integrate with PeopleSoft system, right?
It does. So good question here. Can we integrate into PeopleSoft? Of course, the answer is yes, but you have an option, right? You can use Viewer from TimeEdit to actually publish and do the calendar, or you can also publish it to PeopleSoft. You definitely can also as well. I'll just go back a few slides. Maybe that point maybe wasn't very clear. And we'll ask a bit more about the integrations. So if you can see, Oracle definitely is one of the systems that we can integrate. Any questions from the ITS side on this particular point here? Questions about integration and systems that you guys are using?
I think we will need to know more about how the integration will happen and the overall architecture, like how you will call our PeopleSoft, or are you expecting we expose any API for you to call?
I think that's a discussion that we will have normally during implementation, or if you're going to prepare. Okay, so but normally I would say have that conversation a bit earlier, because before you publish the tender, you might actually want to spec in some integration components inside, and then you need to be very clear exactly what you are integrating also as well, because that can be very open-ended, right? So but yeah, you don't have to expose anything normally. Emma, what do we do for TP? We set up FTP server, right?
Yeah, TP wise, they use SFTP server. They don't expose any API for us to call. In SUTD case, they do expose the API. So it all depends. If you want it to be fast, free, easy, of course, exposing API is the best. We can call your system immediately and port data and vice versa. But if you choose to say, okay, our systems are restricted, we don't want to open up, then you can send us files through a secured mean like an SFTP server, and then we take that file and we send the data into T-Core and then vice versa as well. So we can export out data and then which in the data format that your external system requires, and then you can port back in. Like in case of SUTD, before they ran the API route, they actually consume the data through a file format that we export for them. And then they take it in and then they can publish it into their own third-party applications, enterprise systems. And it all works out. So all depends on how the school wants the integration to happen. Either way, we can match your data field one for one. It doesn't matter what kind of data field you use in your PeopleSoft, Oracle, or whatever. With the basically T-Core's data structure is very flexible. We can match exactly one-to-one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
good point.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
since Cindy again, since it's a SaaS solution, do you all have this certification from CS Star or ISO 2000?
Yeah, we actually went through quite a rigorous thing. We can take this offline and I will send you some of the correspondence that we did 2 years ago, because that was something that I think the ITS team was checking with us. Yeah, so we can definitely reply on that. Yeah.
And also being audited by the independent party according to the SOC 2 standard every year.
Yeah. Correct. We can reply on that also as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, who asked that question so that I will make sure that we follow up on that?
Cindy?
Cindy, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Cindy.
Noted. Thanks.
Yeah.
Got it. Any other questions regarding all this? Okay, RJ, over to you.
Okay, what an honor. Good. Let me put this up and then let's go to
So if you're
share screen.
if everyone is on your laptop, or if you have a big screen, it'll be better. Sometimes the dashboard might be a bit small, so you might need to zoom in a bit. But it's always good to have a big screen to see the scheduling. Yeah.
Like every timetable. Yes, indeed. Okay. Well, I'm starting off with TE preferences. Basically, so our method to collect the data. So I am actually directly already in the user or the person who is providing the data screen. So actually, you can see here in the top, and you also see that the time is overdue, but this is another matter. So that in just a few steps, basically, you can see where we are. So we are at the start. That we can do the data collection. So the course is already selected for me because I'm invited to do this. I just received an email to provide this information, and then here I can say, okay, Lisbeth is the course coordinator, and then I go to the next step. Yeah, and here I can indicate, for example, okay, that I have, for example, a lecture, and the lecture takes 3 hours, and Lisbeth is doing the teaching, and for this lecture, she wants an auditorium, and she wants 3 groups. And because she is Lisbeth is a professor, so I want the most luxurious room there is. Yep. And then well, let's organize the seminars, but the seminars, I would like 3 of them. Yeah. And let's say each seminar is 2 hours, and for the seminar I want a classroom. But because I have 3 classes, I also can say, okay, so this first one goes this group, is for the second group, and this is for the third group. And the same I can do for the staff. So Lisbeth is doing the first, Johan the second, and Anna the third group. Good. So what we can do next? Which book? Yeah, correct. And add the activities limited. What's yeah. All good. And why is this happening? I don't know. Maybe just refresh because. Yes, there we are. So, so what I've created here is basically the structure of the teaching. What I do now in this step is, okay, can say, okay, for the lecture, I have these first 10 weeks. And for the seminar, what I do is the first 2 weeks, then week notes, and the last 2 weeks I am teaching again. Yeah, so basically I have 2 different teaching structures depending on what you are teaching. And basically, so what I have now here is basically I can see, okay, I have 27 activities. Yeah, I have 9 lectures. I have 18 seminars with so many hours. Yeah, so I have a completely overview, and I can say, well, this is the right number of hours. I'm happy. Yeah, and basically here I can press the button and it will be submitted to the timetabling team. So basically, in a few very simple steps, which I can track and trace here, I can see. Oh, I have basically submitted the timetabling data for this particular course. What I also can see here is where I am. So in the process and where the process is. So if I submit it, then this will be highlighted again so that the form is submitted. But you also can track basically where, and that's a choice of the timetabler if they reveal that or not. That the form is accepted, that you are in the scheduling mode, and when it is finished. And when it is finished, then the timetabler also can decide, okay, I'm finished, everything is done. I let the coordinator review the timetable, and I will show you that a bit later. But let's go to the more the admin side. So, for example, I have, let's go here. Here I have, I'm creating a form. So I can say, okay, it's for scheduling, but what I can do more is I can do an availability as well. So very quickly, I can say, okay, I am this particular teacher. Yeah, and I can say, okay, for the coming 16 weeks, and it's my availability. Yeah, I can say, okay, I'm available on every Wednesday, every Thursday. And that information comes then directly to the timetabler. Okay, but let's go to the data collection. So here you can indicate, okay, what's the deadline? Yeah, what's the order due date? And as probably every timetabler knows, all the staff members are always perfectly on time with their with submitting their data. We have a button here where we allow late responses as well. Yeah, and to stimulate the coordinators to submit their information, we have here an automatic reminder button where we can say, okay, let's say 3 weeks beforehand, 1 week beforehand, 1 day before the deadline, we will remind the people who did not submit the form that they have some work to do. Here, so this is the form period. So this is for let's say the first semester in the new year. We have excluded here a week for the carnival period, and we can indicate what reservation mode it is, and I'll come back to that shortly, what that means. And the primary object, and primary object is here in this case subject, or you might call it module, or it's or course, or it could be a program. But that's for you to decide. And then here, well, the bit is already prepared, so you can decide what information you are collecting. So, for example, here I'm collecting the activity type, the teacher, the duration, room preferences. And room preferences maybe is a typical one. So what I have done here, so for the room, we have said, okay, the person can select the room type and the equipment. But if I say the room, then they potentially can say, okay, I want this room, but that's something timetablers don't like. So what we do here is change that back to room type and maybe equipment. And then here we can say, okay, you can only say, okay, what type of room would you like? Yeah. And what we have done here, or can do here as well, say, okay, yeah, it's required to say what room type you have, but it's voluntarily, you can indicate what equipment you want. We can include padding or do other things. Oh, well, this is basically we added as an extra. So here we can say, okay, you want to record the lectures or stream only, record on stream and record. Yeah, so there's a selection to make. So basically, week pickers, well, information for students. Maybe you want to include information, or let's say, and let's do information, information. I need to learn to type information for the timetabler. Yeah, and well, explain your special things. And then basically in the questionnaire, you will get a field here for the coordinator to provide extra information if needed. But if you say, well, I don't want that, just delete and it is gone. So basically it's a super flexible, basically to create this form. But if you're familiar, for example, with Google Forms or SurveyMonkey or those type of things, it's very simple. Basically, you can say, okay, I have a data source here, drag it in. And data source means that it is directly connected with the data from TimeEdit. Yeah, you can say, okay, I want the teacher here. So teacher, and basically here you can see when the teacher data is available. So super simple to create these type of forms. So and what you can see here, yes, save as draft. You can have multiple forms. So let's say each you have 9 departments. So potentially we could have 9 different or even more different forms for. So each department has their own questions, their own set of data. Yeah, and you can see, yeah, that I have quite a few here done. So if you have created the form, yeah, either you can send it to, let's say, department coordinators to, and they assign the people to the forms. But what you can do as well is, so I have here a particular course, and then I can say, okay, either include one, or with collaboration, you can say, okay, more people. So you can say, okay, I have this person working with it, and I include another one, this person. Yeah, so there's a collaboration. You can see it here, and you can say who is basically the owner of it. So the person who's basically submitting. So it could be the coordinator together with the teacher. Then you have a kind of a collaboration. And basically, well, you can do that. You can upload that information, that connection between the course and the coordinator or the teacher. Yeah, you can upload that information, or we have that information from the last year. So, and then basically you press the button, and automatically now an email is sent out for the persons with a request to fill in this particular form. Oops. Yeah. So, in brief, you can collect timetable information, availability, unavailability. Yeah. So basically, any information you would like to collect before you want to start scheduling. One last thing. What you also can do is, if you have collected last year the form, you can do let's say a rollover of the form. So you represent the coordinator. This is information from last year. Do you want to make any changes? Yes or no? If you don't want any changes, submit the form, and the coordinator is done already. Yeah. What you also can do is, well, if you have created the form, you can clone it. Yeah, so basically you make a copy of it, but then it's without data from last year in it. Any question about the data collection?
Yeah, just to confirm.
Sorry. You go ahead. Ask the question. Then
Sorry,
later. Yeah.
This one is the TE preference, is it?
That's right.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
So RJ, exactly what I was thinking. Can you please show the flow so that they know where you are? Because do you have the table?
The presentation. I don't know if I have the presentation up. No, I don't have the presentation up.
Okay, let me show where we are so that everyone is not everyone knows what you are showing them. Now I have it. Let me share the screen, and I'll just give them a quick orientation and pass it back to you. So what RJ has actually shown us, if you can see my slides, is that we are actually now looking at TE preferences, where we actually collect the departmental data collection and scheduling. All right. So right at the front end, when we're doing the pre-scheduling, we're actually collecting the data. So that's what RJ is showing you. And you will actually see whatever that he has set up, it will be now mapped into TE core, which is actually where he's going to go to next. You will be able to see whatever data is being collected can be actually immediately scheduled. So it's very clean, rather than you're trying to import from Excel and then tidy up your data and all these kind of things. The data sets are very clean. So this is the part that he's doing, right? I originally shared with you this particular site. So TE preferences basically collects all this data from your stakeholders. And then after that, we are now going into TE core. Yep, RJ, over to you.
Correct. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Robert. I have a question regarding the role that you played just now when you created the data. What role are you? Are you the timetabling role, or you are somebody who is doing the planning?
So for this screen is for, let's say, the timetablers. So because they know what information they would like to receive from the coordination or coordinators or teachers.
The timetablers job to do this one. Okay. How many activities how many activities can you accommodate?
Millions.
Millions. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Is there a
for
way
example,
to? Yes, yes. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
Yeah. So for example, we have universities with 120,000 students. Yeah, and we have a multi-year database. So, and we have clients with over 10 years of data in the database, and I can tell you without any performance issues. Yeah. So, so basically, it's an unlimited, almost unlimited number of courses, or yeah, you can collect in our system.
By saying our system, you mean the data is sitting somewhere else?
No,
besides,
the data is basically in the cloud. Yeah, and it's always your data.
Okay, okay. So with, let's say with we have about like around about 15,000 records for the whole of Ngee, roughly.
Yep.
So how do we segregate the data, say from the 9 schools we have? How do we segregate each, let's say, the data or the activities for each school?
Yeah. Okay, that's well, perfect moment to go here actually to the timetabling system, because
okay.
Yeah, because we create a structure.
Audrey,
Yeah,
you're showing your slides now. I think you're showing the wrong view. Yeah.
The slides. Oh, that's not the intention. I was thinking, how can I?
You are showing the student. Yeah. Okay. Correct. Yeah. You're good.
Yeah. Good. All right. So, so the timetabling system. Well, basically, when we create with you the data model, we also create with you the data structure. Yeah, so if, well, for example, this is an example here. So if we have a program, yeah, and we can say, okay, it's the business administration, and then the business administration has these courses. So because you can see here, whoops, you can see here, it's related. Yeah, and because it's related to the business administration. So if I would select the subject or course, or again, how it's called here, it's up to you. Yeah. So with this relation, it basically limits the number of courses here. So if I untick it, I see it's 95. But if I tick it here, it's 15 related courses to the business administration. Yeah, and we do that with all the data, basically. So in that way, for each department or for each timetabler, the data is a lot more limited because of all those relations. And well, I'll tell you a little bit more about that, memberships. So let's say a staff member can be member of a department. Or let's have a look at a staff member. Yeah, so we can say, okay, this is the teacher. Yeah, and from this department, and he prefers to teach on this campus. Yeah, and he has a travel time room constraint. Yeah, and he is related to a few courses. Yeah, and I don't know, he belongs to a particular organization, so, and that could be department, for example, a department or multiple departments. We have, well, it's not done here, but we even could have optional relations, and well, also do things with availability. So we can do a lot basically to structure your data. So which makes it a lot easier basically to review, to check your data, and play around with it. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
All right.
So
then yeah.
If we schedule the activities, how do we know that there is a clash? What type of clash is it? Whether there's a clash in with lecturer time slots or room resource time slots?
Yeah. Okay. Let me.
RJ, what I suggest, okay. Why don't you start? Okay, so the question will be answered as Robert Yon slowly takes us through the system, because the danger is that if we zero in on the answer to your question, then we lose the narrative of the whole thing. So let's start by understanding a bit of this dashboard that you're seeing, and then from there you will actually start to see the conflict control as RJ starts to do that. So I think it's important we do it systematically. I'm an engineer by training, so it's always good to systematically understand it, and then after that we'll come back to your question.
Okay.
RJ, go.
I will.
Thank you.
I will definitely answer your question. Don't worry. Yeah, good. So, okay, what you see in front of you.
Can I just clarify before we? I was a little confused with our previous step where you get people to input the request, and you mentioned that's actually the timetabler job.
Yeah.
So how does it work? Because typically, like for us, we would usually just come into this page where we already linked up the staff and the modules, and then we just start plotting. We don't really ask oh, where's your preferred location, what's your preferred time, all this.
So those kind of questions, yeah, you put basically in preferences here. So let's say let's go back to this one here. So if you want to ask what's your preferred preferred day for teaching, for example, let's say let's make it a drop-down list then. Yeah, then I can say, okay, preferred day. Yeah, and then we say, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So when we collect that information, let's take, and where we do an activity, whatever seminar, you also can say, okay, what's your preferred day? Yeah, so this is
more like an ad hoc case. Like I can jolly well skip the hot disk and just proceed with the scheduling, right?
Yeah, okay, but that information comes back. I will come to back in more detail later. Yeah, comes back. For example, do I have an example here? Well, this information would come back here, for example, but I think this is the wrong example.
I think RJ, what she's asking is that does she need to go through these preferences? The answer is that you don't have to. It's one of the ways that you can actually enter the activities. Later, we'll just show you the other way. I think what you're just saying is that you already collected the data, right? And then you just want to schedule. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, indeed.
We may not really give them so much of a leeway to ask them so much of a question.
RJ, they're not giving the lecturers so much autonomy to make the calls.
No, sure. So, well, basically, that's why I was saying basically the timetabler makes this form. Yeah, so the timetabler is in control what information they ask. Yeah, if you want to ask what day you would like to be teaching or not, that's basically the timetabler decides. That's the whole point.
And I think usually we don't ask the lecturers the questions, so that's why it may not be relevant for us.
No,
because usually it's decided by the management, like in terms of, okay, this lecturer has how many teaching hours, what modules are they teaching, then we timetable based on that information.
Yeah, no, okay, but still, the timetable is, from our perspective, always in control. And yes, how many hours somebody is teaching, and that's also something we can control. So we can put that information in that, for example, teacher Jan is only teaching a maximum hour of let's say 6 hours a week, for example. Yeah, but then it becomes a constraint. Yeah, so, but somebody probably needs to approve that information again, and that's something we can do as well.
So
Yeah,
setting up of this,
just to
sorry.
answer that question, so basically, to paraphrase it a bit, for NP's case, you don't basically don't need to send it to any other coordinators. You can just enter the information in preferences, and then what you see is here already. So basically, very similar to your current workflow. You're just not getting any further approvals. We're just saying that the system can allow you for further approvals or further input, but if you don't require that, that's not a problem. You can immediately then schedule those constraints in. Yeah.
Yep. Okay,
Sorry,
but
you were
let
asking a
me.
question. You were asking another question. I sorry, I cut you off.
Yes,
Was there
this is Ken. This is Ken
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, Ken.
So looking at the previous dashboard, there is there a way for us to assign the particular activity that's been created to a particular class group?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. So okay, you are in control of what data you want to collect and how the relations are, and that's something we set up together with you. So you have all the information in the system, so you can schedule that. So for example, here, yeah, do I have a class group here? Not a good example.
Yeah. So at this point in time, actually, I don't see a class group.
No. Okay.
Let's say I have 8 classes.
Yeah,
each class about like 24 students taking the same subject, like BA, your BAD M001.
Yeah. I have here, let's say, one particular, well, it's called here a student set. Yeah, but let me see, do I have multiple groups or not? Well, I can have multiple groups here as well. And we can say, okay, this group is doing this group is doing that. So when I was doing the data collection, I had also different groups, yeah, doing the same teaching. Yeah, so let's say all the groups go to the same lecture, but a different group, each group goes to a different seminar, for example. That's all possible. Yeah, but let me go back by explaining actually well, a little bit more about the logic behind it. Yeah. So what we have here is well, a default 2-week view of your data. Yeah. So and when I start selecting things here, yeah, then automatically things will be pre-filtered. And now we have here, I can say, okay, for 3 different groups, yeah, I am collecting this information, or I want to schedule something, and I want to do a seminar here with this teacher, and I want now automatically the room is filtered, so I want to do this for that particular room. And now I can say, okay, I want to schedule that here for the Tuesday here for 3 hours, for example. And now it's scheduled. So that's all. Yeah. So what I've done here, so what you actually see here is automatically you will see all possible constraints, or it's a kind of inverted calendar. So you will see the information that basically could cause any clash. So if let me see, I need to go a little bit further back in the past because I think I need. Uh, 22, I think that's here I need to be, yes. Yeah, let's put some colors in. So what I have here now, so here I see, for example, that Umino, you can see that Umino is has a hard constraint, yeah, or on every Monday. And well, what I can do as well, I can show multiple weeks in this way. So yeah, so you decide how your screen looks like. And if you can see here, I have a lot of different views prepared, or these are my favorite ones. So if I want to schedule something now, yeah, I only see, well, basically the white space is good space in that respect. But what I also see, let me zoom out, or let's go back to a 2-week view. What I see here is Umino, well, already is busy or has a hard constraint. So if I, you can see unavailable, not working Monday mornings, yeah. And you can see here that Umino is teaching here, but here it is just one of the groups of students, yeah. So the A group is occupied. Yeah, and here there's a relation, but it's a soft relation because this one is transparent. So it tells me preferably don't schedule here, but it is possible. Yeah, so that's something we can indicate as well. So basically in one view, you can see exactly that here group B and group A is occupied. Here it's again Umino. So basically you see exactly which group, which room, which teacher basically is not available, or it would create a clash. So if I would schedule something here now, yeah, so 2 objects already booked. So Umino basically, and basically group A, yeah, is basically well, causes a clash there. So automatically you will be informed if you would still schedule on top of something else that yeah, that clash well, would happen, but it does not allow you, unless of course you have the authorization to say here allow double reservations. So what we can do then, yeah, so what we can do then is, okay, for only for the staff member, not so if I would do this, you see a little plus here, yeah, only if it's involving Umino. And now you can see this once was a hard constraint, but now suddenly soft because this becomes transparent. Yeah, so but only for Umino. Let's say for the groups, so the students, it's still a hard constraint. So you can play with that as well. Yeah, so but I'm not doing it. Yeah. So basically the TimeEdit is very visual. Yeah. From so and it tells you, it provides you all information about your possible clashes. Yeah.
I see. So Robert, how do I see from the previous screen that whether the lecturer has got any outstanding activity to be scheduled? Let's go back to human node.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
good.
Yeah, is there a way to see, you know, whether we have missed any activities actually meant for this particular lecturer?
Sure. Okay. So again, I can so often I will have a different view for that, but let me show you how we make that. So what I can do is split the height, for example, and then I will see a list with reservations. And then I simply can look for, well, it's already Umino here, and basically let me stop. Here I have so I have selected you, and I have all activities over, in this case, quite a long time, and I can see if it's the everything is confirmed, yeah, so or not. So basically, I have a list here, and if it's not confirmed or if it's empty, basically I have to do something. But also, sometimes I can see here there's a hard block, yeah. But so I can check the data if needed, yeah. But that's not. But let's say I'm scheduling something for the rest of the year. So let's say the 1st of October 2023 and onwards. Yeah, so this is everything that's in the future, and everything is confirmed. Yeah, so nothing is empty. So that provides me all the information what I need to. Also for you, everything is scheduled.
Mostly our timetable is for a semester to semester basis, and our timetable is also such that each week is the same.
Perfect. Yeah, good question.
Okay, so
thank you. Let's go there.
my thinking is this. I actually do not need to see a 2-week dashboard. I just need to see a 1-week dashboard, let's say. And
good.
And I would like, actually our timetable is class-centric rather than lecturer-centric.
Okay, so that's fine. So
okay, yeah.
Maybe just to add on, because this is a very new system, we have absolutely no clue where how to start. Maybe can you just show from scratch, if we have the raw data, how do we set up for one module? One module first, like setting up the week patterns, whether can we preset week patterns, and maybe we can go from there. So even the terms here actually looks very foreign to us.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a different system for you. So that's true. Okay, but let me first answer the question around. Okay, I want basically just one view for all the weeks. So what I have done now here is let's do it slightly different. Yep. So let's do this. So I have now for 6 weeks here. So on the top, I have something for 6 weeks. Yeah, and if I would like to schedule something, so let's take a particular program, and a lecture, a subject, and that's it. Let's do that. So if I would schedule now for, if I want to schedule this for these 6 weeks, yeah, I simply schedule it like here, for example, and automatically, bang, it's scheduled in all 6 weeks. Yeah, but one thing that is really different is if I would change this one for 1 week only, let's move this one here to the Thursday, automatically it's removed, let's say from here, so you can see it's for 5 weeks now, and this one is moved here. Yeah, so here you have the multi-week view, and here and here you have the individual weeks. So again, it's the timetabler, yeah, who decides how the screen looks like, and how things are scheduled. Yeah, so this, but there's also, this is the, let's say, the manual way of scheduling. Yeah, so if you basically you create the object from this object selector. Yeah, let's take it out. So let's say I have this program this subject, these well, let's do these students. Let's do well, a seminar again. I have whatever, Jean-Claude as the teacher, and I want this particular grand room. Yeah, I can see everything which is basically blocking me. Yeah, and then whoop, I have scheduled this now for 6 weeks. That's one method. If you do it basically, let's say the manual way and from scratch. But what I also can do, if I use the data collection, which I showed before, what I can do then is basically a lot of the data which needs to be scheduled can be already prepared. So let's go first step back again. So here basically I have all the forms basically where the data is been collected, and I can see where we are in the data collection. So for example, whatever, here I can see, okay, 9 forms are submitted. Yeah, oh sorry, 12 are submitted, 9 I already have received. So 12 forms are sent out, 9 are received. So I'm still waiting for 3. But let's go to this one here. And if I have received all the data, yeah, then I basically I have all the data already prepared for me. Yeah, so I have all the data, including the what type of room they want. Which, yeah, here you can see that there are multiple students. Yeah, I can see it's a lecture, the lecture and the seminars, and everything is there. Oops. So yep, so all information which I need for the timetabling is there. So I know they want a whiteboard and they want an auditorium. So all that information is basically ready to be scheduled, including also when, when is, let's say, which week. So if I would like to manual schedule, so let's take this information out. If I press this button, then automatically, and I need to do something about this. Yeah. So automatically, yeah, this information, so the information from here will be filled in here. Yeah, so all information is there. So if I still want to do it manually, yeah, so I should click the button here, and then I can say, okay, for this week, I can schedule it, for example, here for 2 hours. Yeah, and what we have done as well, automatically, yeah, the room was allocated to it. Yeah, so there was a filter, so it needs to be an auditorium with a whiteboard. So what happened here? An auditorium with a whiteboard. Yep. So and you can see here this one status is in green. This one is now scheduled. So if I take this one, yeah, and I could schedule it. Well, for example, up there, and automatically the room is assigned to it. That's one way of doing it. But what I've done here as well is I have made groups. So I have priority 1 group and maybe a priority 2 groups. So I have 2 groups here. Yeah, and what I can do then is I say, okay, I select, filter for the groups, tag priority 1. Yeah, it was already there. And then I can say, okay, select all and give it that beep. And then I have different scheduling modes. I will show you a bit of that shortly. And then I can do the auto scheduling, and bang, everything is scheduled now automatically. So, and if you want to see how it looks like, so, or just press the button again, and you can see, there and there and there, it is all automatically scheduled. So when I was doing the auto scheduling, yeah, you can see there were different versions of constraint profiles. So let me make this a little bit bigger. So what I've done here is, well, this was the match date range. There's a hard constraint. Yeah. If there was a request for matching the weekdays, then there was a soft constraint. But what we can do as well, which is quite funky, I think, is we can do, for example, time deviations. And time deviation means if, for example, if there's a bank holiday on a Monday, yeah, in one of the weeks I'm scheduling. So what we can allow the system here is, okay, we allow the system to deviate only once. So in the series of, let's say, 10 weeks, we allow the system to deviate once. And we give it a kind of penalty. So we discourage to do that. Yeah. So that's a possibility. And we also have object deviations, which means if the room is not available, and we very much discourage that. So that if the room is not available, we allow the system to choose another room. Yeah, so just a different type of room. Yeah, and again, and with a maximum of 2 deviations only. So this is something you can put in your scheduling preference. And here I can have completely different setup. So here I'm, for example, not allowing deviations. So I can say no deviation, no deviation. Yeah, save changes. So if I would do the scheduling again, I'm not doing that, but yeah, if I would choose the other profile, then I'm not allowing any deviations. Yeah, and if you have done the scheduling, yeah, you can basically review everything, and you can see, well, if there was a deviation or not, and I can see that all everything was scheduled. So every end is completed. So you have quite a good control of basically how the auto scheduling takes place and how the auto scheduling can be done. Let's go. Oh, well, maybe a good step to the side is, okay, we have here all the information of the room, and you can see that I have different capacities. Yeah. So I have a normal seating, I have an exam seating, a social distancing seating, or maybe I can have event seating, whatever. Yeah, I have equipment. So basically any field here, and there is unfortunately only a small limit of 10,000 different fields. Yeah, so we can include, well, maybe a colleague of mine was making a joke, but we can put basically any object or field we can include in this overview, basically. So with the relations, yeah, with anything you want. So that's also helpful basically for the integrations later. This is for the ITS department. We can create the same model as basically your source system. So if you have a system for the buildings, yeah, we can basically create the same structure, which makes the integration again a lot easier. Also with basically your student information system, yeah, if we have a course, so let's go to the course or subject, yeah, we can create the same data structure as basically your student information has, and that makes the integration super simple. Let me see, shall I do, let's say, maybe a rollover? So then we have here a different view. And let's do a rollover for a particular subject, or we can have multiple subjects, but let's do another one. And why is this limited? Yep. That's much better. Good. So, so I have here 116 activities for this particular set. So what I can do is limit this a little bit. I can say, okay, everything from between the 12th of 21 until let's say the 12th of the 10th of 2021. That's not a good. Let's do 22. That's much better. Well, okay, it doesn't really matter. But so I have chosen now a smaller period, and what I can do then is basically select all. Everything is selected. Yeah, and what I do now is I put everything in a draft mode. So NP rollover. So what happens now is everything is copied. And this copy is now in a safe haven. So this one, and you can see there's a lot of correlations now, because what I've done is I have the lifetime table. And on top of that, in a safe haven, I have my copy. So that's why you will see there's a lot of clashes. So what I can do now is select everything again. And I can say move. So I can say, okay, for 2024, I want in September, I want to start on the 6th or on the 17th, because it's a Tuesday, is the move. And everything will be moved for quite a few days. And one, I need to check here, and there's a padding conflict. I need to sort that out. So basically everything is moved, yeah, apart from this because of a padding issue. And I can see if I click on it, yeah, I can see padding means that's probably added later. So that has to, well, I can zoom in later on what padding means. For example, if you have a coffee, a lunch break, yeah, yeah, you can see. Let me zoom. I will zoom this in later. So, and now basically this padding rule is resolved. So this one here, as I will do it zoomed in. That's much better. Yep, good. So basically, so basically, what I've done here now, I have done myself as a timetable a rollover. So, and basically everything is green. Yeah, so no collisions. So basically, when I'm happy, if I press this button, then it becomes part of the live environment. Yeah, what I also can do is I can make different scenarios. So I can say, well, this is okay. Maybe I will make another copy, and maybe I start, let's say, removing, or or I can start replacing things. So I can say, okay, I want to replace from all the lectures, for example, the room, from maybe this one to, let's say, that one. And then in bulk, I have changed, let's say, 66 rooms in one go. Yeah, so, and I can play around with this, yeah. And it keeps checking basically with the real world, so the live world. Yeah, so this is still my safe haven. And if as soon as I'm happy, press this button, and basically it is, yeah, live, basically. Yeah. Good. Yes, I would like to show you something about the padding. So anything, any questions about rollovers? Because this is what a typical rollover is, or if you want to do playing around with scenarios, this is basically how you can do that.
Anyway, I just want to add that normally it takes some time to understand the new system. So 2 hours is normally quite short for us. We actually
Yeah.
do it in sprints, and we also do where we work with the IHL to get some functional requirements. So for example, you have certain scenarios that you need us to demo, that we can be a bit more targeted. I just wanted to add that in also as well.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks,
Sure.
Object.
Yeah, correct.
I understand there's a question, Ken?
Yes, Robert, this question is for Robert. So by rollover, you mean I can, let's say, from the previous semester or the 2 semesters ago, let's say we go by, say for Ngee, we go by April semester and October semester. So let's say for October 2023, I want to just take the October 2022 timetable and then I just roll over and block to 2023. Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely, yeah. And it is a self-service.
Okay.
So basically the timetabler can decide. So you don't need ITS or you don't need TimeEdit. You can do it yourself. So, and basically because we have a multi-year database. So if you think, okay, the timetable of 2019 was better than the timetable of 2021, you can roll over the timetable from 2019 to, for example, 2024.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
And a while ago, I saw in your timetable many overlaps. There are a lot of overlapping, and you mentioned something about padding.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to now. So what you see here.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, I listen. Yeah, I listen. Thank you.
So so what we have here, and as you can see, if I wait for it, so you can see there's a lunch padding here. Yeah, so it's enforcing me to include a lunch. So here I don't see the padding, but as soon as I come close to this here, then the padding will show up. Yeah, so if I would do the same here, that's not a problem because there's it tells me here it's not an issue, but I cannot schedule, or it says preferably, because still it's transparent, you still can, but it tells you please don't do it because we have a padding rule, and try to enforce that between a particular period. Probably here not, that there is a preferred lunchtime. So this is with the soft padding. But what we also can do, so we have some rules here. There we are, it's a hard rule. So here, if I would like to schedule something, let's say from 11 for 2 hours, it does not allow me. But because only for 1 hour. Because this is a hard constraint. So it's so this is, or maybe this is good. This setup, for example, would be good for examinations. So but here, oops, that was too quick with my mousepad. So here it's much easier. So here you can control exactly when something is taught and how that is done. Time is incomplete. Okay. That's another thing I wanted to show. So here we also can enforce that you need to include certain objects or not. And only if you have done, then basically you can schedule it. So this is a padding, but this padding can also be for travel time. So if you have to go from one building to another building, we can include this kind of padding as well. So you are informed that a certain time needs to be included to go from one building to another. So that's how we would tackle the padding. Looking at time, we have still 20 minutes.
Sorry,
I was just thinking, we got only about 20 minutes. Maybe we can spend 10 minutes for TE viewers, so at least they have a chance to see the publishing. But I know someone had a question, one quick one. Can we have the question?
Okay, sorry, I just realized, because when you plot it in, then it's spread out across weeks, but when you do one adjustment, it's only for the particular week. So it's quite dangerous in that way, right?
No, so if I have that split view, so let's do the split view again. The weekday like that. So so whatever, something like that. So here I have basically for all the weeks. So if I move this, that's the wrong part. So if I remove this, it's also just for 1 week. This is for multiple weeks. Yeah. So so if I move this, yeah, I move it for all the activities. Yeah. But if I move it here, yeah, it's just for 1 week. So that makes it so depending on what side you are, yeah, you can make quite quickly a small change. But as long as you stay here, everything will stay together.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So as you see, but you will see straight away the effect in the bottom section, basically. So what's happening there? So but if I move this one back there to Tuesday, then only 1 week has been moved. But if I move this one to the Thursday, it merges again. It's joined up again. Yep.
So
Okay.
since you had the week questions, are we allowed to preset the week pattern? So let me see if I select that pattern, you apply to all the modules.
So so here basically we can have, let's say, an interval, or we have here a particular pattern. So we can say, okay, semester 1, 24. So then you get exactly that particular pattern for or the weeks of what you have selected. So or here you can say, okay, relative to this date. So okay, I can look 3 months in the past, or 900 days in the past, yeah, and I can look 640 days in the future. Yeah, so basically you control what period you would like to see and for what period you are scheduling, because it's a multi-year database, so you need to indicate somehow for, well, let's say I am scheduling for the second semester of 2024, and there you have the data, or there is for in this case here is you can have the overview for week 25, so from June in 2024. So you control when you are scheduling, and well, it's also possible that the administrator is enforcing it. But well, I think the timetablers prefer to have the control themselves when something is taking place or not. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Robert and
Yep.
Trevor, I think I just want to interject this more point because I realize actually MP's requirement and the questions they're asking are skewed towards very much like what TP is doing. So I'm going to just quickly take over the demonstration a quick one and show them how we have set it up for TP, and then therefore makes it relevant for them, because I don't think they are looking at your environment and seeing similarity. So I'm just going to share with them, and then I'm also going to touch on viewer very quickly, so at least they have a very good overview. All right.
Go for it, bro. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to share my screen now. So can you see my screen, everybody?
Yeah,
it's
we can.
there now. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how we set it up for TPM, but this is the test environment. So anyway, I think you're going to see very similar things here. First thing first, I think what Robert has previously shown is a kind of setup that they usually do it from a European style. But I think when I deal with Temasek Poly, that time the implementation is a little bit different. So how they do it is like they have what y'all wanted, like for example, custom weeks. I think y'all already aware that your semester week 1 is not your calendar week 1, right? So for example, this is their April semester. So 17th April was their week 1. So we can actually set these customized weeks. I think someone asked a question whether you can set up. So as you can see, the views here on the left, top left, is where you can set up the different semester modes and all that. So there's an April semester, and then some of their TP classes are running in mode A and mode B, meaning first 8 weeks is one pattern, and then the second part of the semester is another pattern. So that might be something you all also looked at. And I think one of them also mentioned you all wanted the 1 week view, because similar to what you guys do, they also have a 1 week pattern. So the 1 week is recurring throughout. So we have a view that allows them to see a single week and all the class for a particular class group or subject class for that matter, and then they can see all within one workspace like this, right? And then in the recurring weeks pattern, I think someone also mentioned, how do you preset the week? So you can actually preset it in the terms that you want. Like if you select, for example, I only want to schedule week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I skip to week 12, 13, then you can then save this selection into a specific pattern that you want. Maybe you call it pattern 1 or whatever. And then thereafter, the next time you come in here and you select pattern 1, all that weeks will be pre-selected for you. So that's one way you can save the pattern, all right? The system is highly customizable in many ways. So it all depends on what your requirements are, all right? So this is just to give you a quick show of what an environment would definitely look like where maybe MP is concerned. And the views that you can set here are really myriad. Like it depends on what you want. So you can have different weeks. You can have weeks only showing a specific week range, right? For example, if I click on semester mode, right, week 1 to 19, you will see that the entire semester weeks, you only limit you to view until week 1 to 19. So there's no way you can schedule outside of the semester. No ways of making mistakes whatsoever. Yeah. Or if you want to set this up, you can also have week 1 to 8, for example, and then you are also locked within that week 1 to 8 pattern. So you can see that, right? Now, coming to data, right? If you don't want to go through very long stage of preparation like TE preferences, you can straight away go in and then set up your class group like this, right? So these are all the various fields that can be set up within the system, and then you can make them related to one another. So what do we mean by relationship? So when you set up a class group, that class group may have specific subjects linked to it, right? For example, this one. So you can see that this particular class group is set up in such a way whereby it's related to the various subject classes that is meant for this particular class group, meaning the modules that they select have relevant classes that are attached to it, like a lecture, tutorial, for example, right? And then these are then linked to the specific class group. So when you select a class group as you are doing a schedule like this, the relevant subject classes relevant to this related class group will all show up for you. You don't have to sort through a long list, so this is one quick way how you can actually schedule, because everything is locked in such a manner, right? You can see your preferences and whatnot. Same thing, the related modules will then show up as well, right? Not all the modules in your school, right? Same thing, what then you can also do is like when you want to select locations, there are things like location suitability. If you set a location suitability like, okay, only business rooms, for example, then when you next go to the location, only business related rooms are selectable, as you can see on the left-hand side, right? So this kind of relationship setup is very useful when you do a timetabling, right? Same thing, it works for subject classes as well. Only related subject classes will show up when you choose a specific class group, right? And then you can also select staff. I think there are also staff suitability that we can also set up. Yeah. So only relevant staff that can teach, for example, will then be shown in the list for the timetablers to select. So in that sense, system is very flexible, right? Same thing, I think maybe Robert has shown this recurring reservations. When you make recurring reservations, you can edit one out of the many recurring ones, right? Or you can adjust the entire series. So it's really up to you guys, yeah? From here, you can actually change your views in whatever that you want to see. So when you click on something, yeah, all the highlighted ones are the classes that you can see, yeah? So when you make changes, these are all reflected from within the systems itself. Now, taking note of time, I hope that this is somewhat, now you're seeing some similarity or familiarity with how TimeEdit will work or look like in your environment, right? I think the other thing what we wanted to show you was TViewer. Sorry, I'm rushing this.
It's okay, Edmund. Just get a question. One question.
Yes.
Oh,
Is
no,
there
no,
a question?
I'm agreeing with what he's saying. This looks more closer to what we are similar to what we are familiar with.
Exactly.
But because actually I invited colleagues from the exam admissions as well as academic planning, is it possible to quickly share on the exam timetabling portion as well?
Okay, that's gonna take about another 10 minutes if that's okay. But Emma's gonna quickly, maybe in 5 to 10 minutes, show you TE Viewer. So we need about 20 minutes if we want to do a quick exam. Is that okay?
Maybe we can do the display first, then for colleagues who needs to leave, they can leave so
Yeah,
that we
sounds
at
good.
least
Sounds good.
have an overview of the exam timetabling as well.
Yeah, so Edmund is just showing the TE Viewer now. And of course, we do the single sign on, and Edmund is just, yeah, so Edmund, go take it over. Thanks.
Yeah, 1 second. So basically, when we do a T viewer, so this is actually how a T viewer look like. If a student, if you have set up for single sign-on, depending on how your school works, I presume maybe you're using Active Directory or whatever. So when a student sign on, they will be able to see their own schedule in a format like this. All right, so it can be colored, all these can be rearranged and can be so-called reset up. If you don't want so many colors, or you want the layout to be a bit different, or you want different data to show up here, all can be adjusted one. Font size can increase and all that. So I will skip all this. The main thing is you can then proceed to download the timetable either in PDF, Excel, or you can even subscribe to a calendar feed. So it will show up in their Google Calendar, their Outlook, your Outlook even. If you're a staff, right, you can see your teaching schedule, right, in your Outlook calendar, if you are using Outlook. I presume you are, right? So you can see all that, and then it makes it very easy to see everything. So you can even see in text form, or if you want to see in graphical form. Again, same thing. We can customize this in such a way that you only see a 1 week pattern. I think I talked to some of them. What we could show is we could show a 1 week thing, but it will show all the different recurring weeks that particular lesson is running. Like for example, we only show 1 week, and then we'll tell you this specific class is running 14 times in the entire semester, for example. I just can't remember how I did it the other day. Oh wait, I think it was this one, weekly view. Yes, weekly view. Yeah, something similar. So you can see all the lessons that is being crammed into the various weeks and in the entire semester. Again, same thing. This is entirely up to an individual, like how you want to view the thing. Everything is possible and it's highly customizable. Okay, I think this was what TP requested from us anyway. Yeah, and then in the administration, you can also do many stuff. Right, we have staff time. We can see your adjuncts. We can see all the staff object overview, like, what's the number, which department they're from, whether they're full-time staff, email addresses. We can also check like how many students are currently in campus during your lunch hours by zooming in on reservations that are allocated during the lunchtime, for example. Right, we can also show you whether the students are fitted properly or not, etc. So these are some of the reports that we can do. And again, these are highly customizable. So it's not a fixed set of reports or features that you see in every T implementation. In fact, if you look at every T implementation in all the schools, they all look different. So it depends on what MP wants, and then we can set it up accordingly. But as I said, system is so flexible. So really, what you can think of, it's highly likely that we can actually deliver in terms of a report format that you require. We can also set up different viewer portals. So the students will only see schedule, for example. We can also set up for common staff. So when the staff goes in, you only see their own schedule, their colleague's schedule, and they can also preview the schedule in the upcoming semester if you have set it up for them to view, right? And then for the timetablers, you can then have a lot of reports, like what kind of reports that you need, the relationship, right? Which this class group got how many subjects, etc. So we can all make it into a form of reports after sending in all the data that you can see that I have shown you previously in TE Core. Yeah, so I hope this is somewhat familiar, and I apologize for this being rushed, but What Robert is trying to give you is a very big overview of what the system can do. And then when it comes down to really looking at your own environment, then this is what you will see when you eventually get T-Core to work with your timetabling. Okay. So I think that's all for me in terms of T-Viewer. Robert, you might want to take over for the exam part.
Yeah, okay, let's put a pause here. So before we start, what do you think? We're gonna now talk about exam, but of course, if everyone is free,
I'm not
we'll
able
try
to
cover...
demonstrate it because I'm
not today.
Sorry,
okay,
because I need to go in a minute, basically.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we most probably need to arrange maybe another shorter session to talk
That's
about
fine.
exam.
That's fine.
Right? Or we can send you some of the links. But of course, it'll be good to have another session. You might have some further questions after reviewing this demo. But I think then maybe we'll call it a stop for here. Any last questions before RJ has to go? Any last questions from the NP team?
Yeah, and I don't want to rush the exam part as well, because in 10 minutes it's not enough time to show all the exam functionality. So I'd rather do it properly, more in depth as well, so you know what the process is, instead of that I just showed you a few screens in a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, so NP team, any last questions before we wrap it up? Maybe Pei, your guidance?
Currently, I don't have any further questions. Okay, apologies for the AAP colleagues that we are not able to go into that the exam timetabling. We'll coordinate another meeting regarding that.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
can go
just
in
need
depth,
maybe,
no problem.
yeah, we need maybe about a 45-minute session for exams, no longer than that. It's not that complex. And then you can, of course, ask us specific questions related to the exam scheduling part. Yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah.
Computer
any other
science,
things?
any things that you want to clarify, or we take it offline for the tech requirements?
Yeah, we can take it off. Maybe RJ, let me share my screen and I'll just end with 2 slides and then we can call it a meeting. So very quickly, I just wanted to highlight, as what Emma was talking about, when we do the implementation, is quite a rigorous one. We, besides the needs kickoff, we actually do it in sprints, right? So we do configuration, we demo to the team, and then after that, we do a reconfiguration after the feedback. So this is done when we do all our requirements gathering during the implementation stage. And that's why we can actually land the implementation in about 4 months. All right, so that's just some things that we also wanted to share. The last thing is generally the timeline for the migration of a timetabling system. I'm not sure what's the timeline for MP is going to be like, but we always do like to highlight, because sometimes the planning team doesn't realize the number of steps required to change the system. And we do normally just put some of the things that is required. So if you look at task one is like, for example, when you want the timetable to be published. So for example, if it's in July 2024, this is just hypothetically, right? If you work backwards, you know, timetable review, scheduling, that's already the system commissioning, and that's about 2 months before that, the user acceptance test. The implementation, it's in normally January kind of thing, start a project, tender evaluation, budget approval, and then functional requirements. So all this is a very good kind of guideline for the people that we speak to, so that they can actually do some planning. You will need at least about, from what you see here, about 9 months to plan for a system, you know, whether it's budget approval to actually rolling out the whole new system. And we also mapped it out also as well, that you can use some of this as references also as well. The last thing is that we of course put some case studies. NP team is most welcome to look through this. I would suggest, if there's an interest from MP side to continue this conversation further, do give us your functional requirements. We will look at those functional requirements. As what Edmund has said, we can actually then be very targeted in our demo and just show you how the system would actually deal with some of your functional requirements. Yeah, and I think that's it. that's all I wanted to close. We will send this deck to everyone. We've recorded this session also as well. We'll put that as part of the follow-up, as well. Yeah, Pei Ying, over to you.
I don't have further questions. Yep. I think we can continue the conversations afterwards. I'll get back if we would like to have another meeting for the exam part.
Sounds good. So, Pei Ying, will you be the main point of contact for us?
You can go through me, then
Okay.
I'll be working with the various like computer center as well as the timetabling reps.
Okay. Well, last question, is there a timeline that you're looking at into reviewing your system and having a new one so that we have some background also as well?
We are currently exploring what options are available, but I think we are also concerned whether we wanted to explore a cloud-based system. So we don't really have a hard timeline. Of
Okay.
course, we cannot delay by too long either.
Yeah, I think you just need to be very careful because the planning cycles are very long. I mean, by the time of evaluation and then all this, yeah, it will string on to the 2025, the kind of date range. But anyway, all the information I've talked about is in the slides. Please feel free to have a look at that and engage us further if you are interested. Yeah, and thanks so much for all everybody's time this afternoon.
Before you go, may I know how much is the budget range for this software?
I think it really depends if you're going to put together all your modules together. We can have a separate conversation on this. We can do a budgetary exercise together. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But we're definitely competitive in the market. I mean, if you see the last few tenders that have been opened up for the timetabling, we've always been very competitive in our rates, as well as what we offer also as well. Yeah.
And you have your local support team.
Yep. We're here in Singapore. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we nail it, because we are able to give localized support. Our implementation is done. I mean, Edmund is our technical director. You can see how familiar he is with the system. I think that's where we ace it in a lot of areas, being able to provide. But of course, the software and the other greater team is global, but the support will be definitely localized. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Most welcome. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Happy Fridays. Yeah.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.